to another training session from Vincenti International. Today we're going to talk about the buying process and why people buy things, why they buy houses for that matter. Understanding the psychology of the buyer will help you a lot. You need to know exactly where you're at with your buyer so you can press the right buttons and help them. And I mean that, help them, not abuse of it. Well, from marketing, which is where I came from originally before I specialized in becoming a trainer, we know that there are distinct phases which a buyer goes through psychologically before they are able to make a purchase. The first one is what we call becoming aware of the need recognized stage. What happens here is they're watching TV and they see an advert of a house by the sea, or they see a Remax advert for that matter, and they become interested in the requirement to move properties. This often happens with friends at parties. They talk to each other and their best friends or people they know are moving into a bigger house with a pool. They recognize they have a need to be just like them, so they decide to start looking for a house with a pool. So the needs recognition stage is vital, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll go on to buy. The next stage is information search. So they know they've got a need, now they start looking. They get on the internet, they talk to friends who've bought property, and this is where it's so important to have a brand like Remax out everywhere. That Remax brand, the more people are talking about it, the more likelihood there is that when they've moved to this phase, they'll come and talk to you. So you've got to be around, you've got to be aware, you've got to be giving out your cards. This is what we call lead generating, yeah? We call this lead generating to attract people like this. Once they're at the information stage and they start moving into this stage where they begin to evaluate alternatives, now you know you're about to get a deal here. They're ready to make a purchase. Do you remember at some point we talked about giving them information and knowledge to counter the fear and the doubt? You do this all the way, but especially over here. Now, if they're ready to move on from this and you find the right property, they will make a purchase. They will buy from you. The problem is that most agents then completely forget about their clients at this point, and that's when they're making the post-purchase evaluation. They're considering, was this the right choice? Did my agent help me? Were they professional enough? Did I overpay? Did I underpay? Will I use them again? So remember, your leads go through all these 4 or 5 stages. Actually, there are 5 stages over here. When they get to the final stage, you've got to be with them also. So stay in touch with your leads because you never know what other needs they'll have in the future to buy or sell property. The buying process is important because if you know where you're at along this, you'll know not to press the buttons at the wrong time. Example, they're only at the needs recognizing stage and they're just beginning to look for property and you try to close them too soon. What happens? You scare them off. So make sure you know where you're at. If they're around here, then it's time to start calling for the order, making them basically understand they need to make a purchase and make a decision. If you've done your job and they're ready, they have the information and the knowledge, they will decide to buy. And then make sure you're there afterwards. That's another training session from Vincenti International. And remember, success is defined not just by what you achieve, but more by what you overcome. Thank you.